Hi, everyone. I'm Vicki Vollweiler, founder of College Financial Prep, and I want to welcome you to another podcast episode today. This is an episode that we haven't done before. We touch on a lot of topics as parents and students are preparing for college. And today I'd like to welcome Alexandra Todaro, and we're going to be discussing health and wellness and nutritional eating when the kids go to college. Welcome, Alexandra.
Thank you, Vicki. Pleasure to be here. And please call me Sasha. That's my nickname.
So do me a favor, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us what you do, and then we'll jump in.
Okay, the short answer is I'm a healthcare provider and healer. And a little more details are I'm a registered dietitian-nutritionist, also known as an RDN. I am a certified diabetes care and education specialist. I'm a Reiki master teacher and a certified meditation instructor. And I have a private practice, so I work as a nutritionist, consulting with people in what we call medical nutrition therapy. And my business is in Long Beach, and it's called Alexandra Todaro Diabetes and Nutrition Therapy.
Fabulous. Welcome. So the reason we're doing this episode today, I'm sure everybody's heard about the freshman 15. So, let's start talking about how do we avoid the freshman 15? How do parents avoid the freshman 15 when we're under stress and the kids are under stress? Let's just talk about it. How can we help our kids eat healthy when they're on campus?
Great question. I know right away I thought, how do we avoid the middle age 15?
True.
But I always like to make the point that I imagine the audience might be more moms than dads, but just to know to gain 10 pounds during menopause is a natural thing. Just want to state that for the record. So I think we can model for our kids. I found that the least effective listeners are our family members when we try to educate, even myself. So what do we do as parents? Our job is to put the healthy stuff out there and say, hey, we're having dinner at 7:00. That's the job. So what are we going to put out there? We're not going to ask really, well, we'll make a lot of work for ourselves if we say, hey, what do you want? And that might be what you want to do. And I guess for college-age kids, you can do that, right? They're not going to have a food jag. So colorful. I'm thinking nice to model eat the rainbow. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Okay, so it means if you have 2 colors on your plate, how can you make it 3? Oh, there's 3. Can I get to 4? Can we focus on fiber? Do we give thanks? Maybe cultivating this idea of mindful eating. So do we give thanks before most meals to ourselves or out loud, or do we only do that on Thanksgiving? This can help slow down, which improves digestion. I find, right, these habits that we have now may go back to college and even earlier. So I think it's a good idea to strive for a bigger variety of food, maybe making one new recipe once a week, once a month, make something new, try a new food, be brave and daring, try something new. Most people are well served by increasing the variety of food. Oh, and my beloved evidence-based, I didn't say this, as a registered dietitian, my job is really to impart what is evidence-based. What does science tell us? Okay, because there's information everywhere. You might have noticed, right? It can get confusing. It just seems like everyone's got an opinion, but what has science behind it? So whole foods and moving toward a more plant-based diet can be really promote health, even has the ability to reverse disease.
So do me a favor, a lot of kids, they go, they move, they live on campus. They're not necessarily commuting and staying at home with, mom or dad making dinner anymore.
Mm.
So once the kids are on campus, what do you suggest?
Yeah, that is the big challenge. To do some research, I actually went to the Adelphi website and looked up their cafeteria and the little dining choices and what is on the menu. And I think let's admit it's challenging because most freshmen don't have what I had. I was placed in senior housing freshman year, so I had a complete kitchen. The kids now, right, they're limited to a meal plan. It's a question, do they even have
Right.
a fridge? You tell me, do most of them have a refrigerator, I guess?
Yeah, a
Maybe one?
small one.
They could have a small fridge, but it's limiting, and now you're limited. And I thought it was funny that, um, not that I love counting calories, but it gave it on the website, and it would say mac and cheese 140 calories, and I thought, well, what portion is that? So that this portion notion, I think if modeling that plate, that idea that if you draw a circle and have half your plate be colorful, like veggies, ideally, or salad, quarter of your plate be your potatoes, sweet potatoes, not French fries every day, and a quarter of the plate is a protein. And not having like a salad. Oh, I'll have a salad for lunch because I'm being good. No, try to have some salad every day. It could be part of the meal, right? It doesn't have to be the whole meal and some protein. And always include, don't think again you're being good because you didn't eat any grains or whole grain. So again, carbs, healthy carbs, uh, are not the Dunkin' Donuts and chips and fried things. It's more that's what it means. A whole food. Just how much? Like, can I snack on a handful of nuts? Did you know a serving of pistachios is 49? That's a lot of pistachios. Very nice. So why can't I have some pistachios and one or two clementines? Real food,
Right.
instead of grabbing something like some kind of bar, granola bar that might be a glorified candy bar. Not going to, produce the best mood. Not going to make me my best for school and paying attention and being alert. Right. And that could lead to another thing to discuss, caffeine, right? Kids have a lot of caffeine. So maybe limiting those Starbucks drinks with all the whipped cream, that could help you. That right there could contribute to the freshman 15.
Oh yeah, and I think it's available on every single campus.
Yes, I've heard the laments of parents about the Starbucks bill. It's a real thing. So I did just watch also Food Inc. Part 2. So a fresh fact in my memory is that in the United States, 58% of our calories come from ultra processed foods. When you look at countries around the world, guess what? They're more like 20 to 28%. So, ultra processed might be one of my beloved foods called potato chips. I have made a little vow to myself to eat less of that. But for me, it's not a never food. Okay. This time of the year, my rule is like, let me not bring them in the house, but I'll buy them and bring them onto my boat to share, kind of a thing.
So what's your feeling on this?
Mm.
Kids, they like to sleep late, roll out of bed, run to class. How important is breakfast?
It's important, but it could be anything. So they do need their sleep. So to start at the beginning is, what time are they going to bed? What would motivate them to be in bed 10:30, really be asleep by 11 for sure. This is the goal. Like 10 o'clock is
Like,
ideal for us too. But we know they still need more sleep than we do. We're at that age where we didn't yet get to be old enough where we're going to sleep more. But they need their sleep. And again, if they're having a lot of Starbucks during the day, that might impair their ability to fall asleep. It really is a real thing, that it can create anxiety. It can raise blood pressure. Those are real things. So what can they eat? They could have anything as long as it's something. So I'm big on, well, in your idea, your scenario, are they stopping at the cafeteria to eat, or do they even have time for that?
well, yeah, I guess that's it. Should
Mm.
they purposely make time to have breakfast, or maybe
Oh, yes.
are they better off and not taking in the extra calories at breakfast. I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no. Okay, good point. No, everybody should eat at minimum 3 meals a day. Okay. Yesterday I saw an individual, I don't see, he was only 25, but he tended toward, real low blood sugar. So his meal, lifestyle daily thing should look like breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. Yeah, that middle of the night eating, that's a real thing. There's something called night feeding syndrome. Did you know? And like that's not good. Yes, but when we sleep, we should be sleeping. So I'm going to propose that if they have a fridge in their room, and if they could just grab, a slice of, they don't even, it could be bread, or it could be what I had for breakfast today. I had a couple of wasa crackers with some nut butter and a little bit of jam. I know when I eat 2 of those, that kind of is like a smaller breakfast, but I know I got 6 grams of fiber. Kids could probably eat 3 of those easily. That'd be 9 grams of fiber. And then they're getting on their way to the goal, which is, over 20, 25 at least a day for that age. I wouldn't care if breakfast was a slice of cold pizza. Maybe you just came up with a great idea, Vicki. Maybe kids should purposely be putting away a slice of pizza in the fridge overnight for breakfast the next day. Something.
Why do you say this? I'm like
half a turkey sandwich, because something is better than nothing. You can't function on empty. It's a known thing in cities where the kids don't have, I've seen kids in strollers. Well, maybe they weren't going to school yet, but when I see little kids with a soda and a bag of Doritos, like that's breakfast, how are you going to perform your best, right? This is a known thing. We need both carbohydrates, which turn to glucose, which is the gasoline for our brain. Protein is going to sustain us. That, helps makes us feel full. Some healthy fat gives us flavor and, again, satiety. So, if it grows on a tree, it's good for me. Nuts and olives, avocados, items that grow on trees are the healthiest. I did mention peanut butter, so I always like to mention my so-called caveat. Peanut butter should have 1 or 2 ingredients on the label only. So everyone can go home, check your peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, sunflower seed butter. I don't know if it's as common, but in peanut butter, only 1 word, either peanuts or peanuts and salt. Okay.
So here's the issue. The kids have meal plans. They're on campus. They're served whatever the school puts out.
I'm just talking about breakfast. I'm saying if they're running out the door to get to class, and I would imagine it could be a thing where if they're really running late, their hair's wet, or they're, really running late, they might not have time to go to the cafeteria.
Got it.
And that said, I mean, I've seen what Starbucks offers, and it's, I guess if we look hard, we can find a better choice. We could find a better choice.
You're bringing it up.
Yeah.
So not only is it not healthy, I'm going to say this, since, I deal with the finances all the time. How much money are these kids spending on this stuff?
Yeah.
I already said to my daughter, like, no, you can't do this every day.
It's a real. Yeah, I mean, you can get, I think they would like this too. Sorry, I'm having one of those warm moments. An electric kettle, is that allowed in a dorm room to make hot water? And in a pinch, they can have, you'd be surprised, instant coffee cannot be that bad if they're looking for coffee.
They can have coffee makers in the rooms, I believe.
Oh, okay. So they can have that, and they can have a nice, I would recommend myself a little biased, but maybe like a non-dairy, something made by Silk. They can have a creamy thing if they like it black, great. But that could save them time and money. And right, you're in the finance business, as we all know. So looking at what I think the cheapest beverage you could get at Starbucks is like maybe $5.50. I don't know if there's something less than $5. So every 25, that's $100. Could be a monthly habit of 100. That's without anything to eat. Right. So that's $1,200. that could be a vacation, that could buy a lot of nice clothing, or, think of what, you want. And again, maybe like nutrition and food with the coffee, do it. Don't think all or nothing, all or nothing.
Treat, not an everyday.
Yeah. All or nothing thinking sometimes like stops people from even initiating change. That's the problem with all or nothing thinking. But, maybe if they see on paper, let them know. If you're the parent, let them know what, if you get the bill, what did that Starbucks come to, and what could we have in your room that you might like? Save you time. You could sleep a little more because you're not thinking, I must get to Starbucks, right? But then you're there. You might be tempted by the coffee cake, the donuts, whatever they're offering. I tried the falafel. I'm not going to have it again. And the picture was deceiving of what it looked like and what I got served. So yeah, it's what's real food? Can we get back a little bit to that notion that if it's in a package, just look for a short ingredient list.
Fabulous.
That said, I'm going to tell you, like, I probably eat 2 Snickers bars every year. On Easter, I had some jelly beans. This is once a year, right? But daily, it's really about, how much colorful food, whole food, looking for fiber, and make that now, right? You brought up the reality. They're rushing, and we don't like to see our kids stressed and rushing, and they have no time because we feel like, no, that shouldn't happen yet. That's going to happen, right? So, how can we teach them a little bit about time management? That this idea of nourishing your body is worthy of some time. It's worthy of a little preparation. My tagline is mindful eating, mindful living. It's hard to be mindful if we're, running out the door with one shoe on and just, mindful is when you say, oh, I'm doing this. I'm having this conversation with you and you have my full attention.
Very
so
nice.
that's a really great thing to, I think, try to model that, that they're making habits now that will likely, stay with them for some years to come. So why not, right? We want them to have our wisdom now, sooner than later.
Yeah, love that.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me, well, right now, my home office, I call this my she shed. So
No, online and social media.
Oh, all that good stuff. Okay, sure. I'm at my name, Alexandra.Todaro.com. My Instagram is Open Heart Healing, my former doing business as name before I incorporated. And I do have a couple of videos by my name also on YouTube. One is a guided meditation and one is a business introduction. And that's how you can find me.
Fabulous. I want to thank you so much for being here today and for guiding us all as we're thinking about the kids going to college and what they're going to eat at college and how they're going to manage on their own without parents there.
Can I say one more thing in closing statement?
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, don't buy into this idea that it's so hard, because the nutrition advice maybe is coming at you from everywhere and it seems, but the things we know to be true now have been true a long time, that fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lentils, chickpeas for most of us, okay, are great. So when it's apple season, buy 7 apples for the week, put them in your fridge, send your child home with that. They can grab that, buy them those little bags of nuts if they don't have a problem. And for yourself too, it's not hard. Eat a cucumber every day, eat some salad every day. Try to think in your mind that a salad is naked if there's not at least a half a cup of chickpeas in there, or if you prefer lentils. Okay, but it's not so hard. We're just adding. You're not going to feel deprived. This is about expanding and maybe putting some new things in the fridge as staples, like roast red peppers and artichoke hearts and hearts of palm and making chickpea mash instead of tuna fish all the time. There's simple things to do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicki.
You're welcome. And thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of College Financial Preps Preparing for College podcast. See you next time.
Bye.